Gaster seems to be really interested in us. Or in any unique test subject, really. Thanks, pal. At the very start, he gave us the opportunity to create a vessel with him. Okay, but then why would he throw it out right away? Well, it wasn't him who did. Gaster always writes in caps, and whoever this is, does not. In fact, this kind of reminds me of Kara. First, the way they speak, and second, the "you're not the one in control" message. This mysterious someone says that no one can choose who they are in this world. Kara, at the end of the Undertale genocide route, says, "Since when are you the one in control?" before they erase the world despite her refusal. Very clear message here. Your choices don't matter. But that's not all. Let's return to Deltarune. In the church scene, Susie says that she's heard rumors about Kris and Caddy trying to summon a demon. Now guess who else has been called a demon? Kara! And they carry our name in Undertale, which means that we are that demon. Kara even says that they were awakened by us, gaining EXP, LV, and so on. Obviously, starting the genocide route was only the player's choice. Kara just left a few lines in red letters here and there. So again, the demon is us. Kara introduces themselves using the name you chose for yourself. And yes, that means that Kris is literally possessed by a demon. Poor kid. However, Kris's attitude towards us, the player, has always weirded me out. They clearly hate being controlled. They literally throw us into a cage, into a trash bin, beat the shit out of us when we bully Noelle, and yet they still let us control them afterwards, even in the Snowgrave route. Seems like they need us for some reason. It's either because something happened to Kris and they cannot function properly without a soul, or because they need the power of resetting and coming back to life, as well as the ability to close dark fountains and banish darkness. Maybe that last ability is what protects them from Gaster, who's heavily connected to darkness. Also, whoever this person on the phone is, they tell Kris that it's dangerous for them to go to the dark world without us, most likely because otherwise they will get stuck there. Now, regarding their plan, I believe they're fighting against Gaster. They know about his existence, and I think that it's him who took Des away for whatever reason. And if the player is the demon, then Gaster is the angel, and the one who put the prophecy the way we see it in the game. Why is Gaster the angel? And if he is the angel, why would he kidnap a random girl? I have a theory. Well, as Gerson mentions in Undertale, the angel is the one who will free all the monsters, according to the prophecy, and we already have someone who's giving freedom left and right, the same freedom that drove Javelin and Spamton insane. This heaven that Spamton mentions is also present in the prophecy. They'll hear the ring of heaven's call. This reminds me of the Dark Maze in Chapter 4 when we navigate using the bells and fight against Gerson's armor, spirit, whatever. Gerson had died years before the game's event started, and his spirit, let's say, wanders in the dark among the bells. I see it as some twisted version of heaven. Not even twisted, but inverted. Like, heaven is darkness and hell must be light. Yeah, kinda like in this legend panel. It actually fits the idea of the player being the demon, since we already use light to banish darkness, and later, the angel. Now, let's look at another panel of the prophecy, gallery. I know this panel talks about the gallery of statues, but the visuals confuse me, specifically these two frames. Like, I don't remember any important paintings, although the panel looks more like a theater. I went to check if the word has another meaning, and it does. Thanks, English. Gallery in theater means the cheapest, highest seats. The second balcony is known as the upper circle, and the top level of seating is known as the gallery, or the gods. Now, let's look at the figure in the middle. The line goes from top left to bottom right, the same as on Gaster's face. Both have the whole face crossed. Moreover, that figure looks like the angel. The panel also reminded me of the spot where we had the secret fight with Gerson, and in the background we actually see something similar. Two frames, one central element, and curtains. I don't know if you can count the two armor statues as another similarity, but yeah. The original gallery is called the Gallery of Ancient Faces, and Gerson is old. Now, why am I connecting these two rooms? Well, I think Gaster is literally watching us from there. just like the panel shows. At the end of the fight, Gerson says that the bell is ringing, it's the final round, which can mean that heaven is coming for its sacrifice. There is another interesting panel about the angel, which Susie comments on. The angel banished will finally meet with its desire. Hey, below the words, that picture. What the hell is that supposed to be?
That's the angel, Susie. What, to my understanding, it actually looks like.
I don't know about that, man.
It's a prophecy. Looking at it made you feel strange.
Yeah, looks weird. She implies that this doesn't really look like an angel, and Rosie awkwardly agrees because it's just darkness. Let's pause with the angel's identity for a moment and look at Gaster's alleged victims. Whatever happened in the past, I think we all agree that it has something to do with the shelter. The poor children lost where the forest would grow. I think it's a hint to the shelter since there's literally a random path in the forest that leads to it, and it kinda matches the Roots prophecy panel. Oh, and also the same orange trees are in the Sword Route's shelter, and trees seem to be significant to Kris. They're the only one who can find the forgotten man behind them. They have a tree drawn over their therapy room door, and they themselves drew a tree over the monochrome mess they made on the canvas there. Most likely, Kris saw something horrible happen in there, and that's how their mind blocks the trauma. That would explain why they're also scared to enter the shelter in the original minigame during the Sword Route. Now, regarding the locked therapy rooms, I think the other two patients might be Des and Ezreal. The poor children lost where the forest would grow. Not a child, but children. How many kids were lost in there? Do they have a Freddy Fazbear's Diner in there or something? Anyway, the horrible event that happened might have been a dark fountain opened by the kids that went out of control. Des was lost somewhere darker than dark, where time is non-existent. Ezreal possibly tried to run after her, and Asgore might have shut the shelter door to protect everyone else from the danger. Perhaps he was also the one who put the code on the door. Maybe that's why the Night captured Undyne. They wanted to take their code so they could get in. But in that case, they'd have to know the other two codes too. Someone who goes to church, who knows the mayor, who also has something to do with the cops? Who the hell could that be? A pine tree, a police badge, and a Deltarune. Someone locked the shelter and set this code. It's too dangerous for civilians. And this description, it matches Asgore perfectly.